My dear friends, life is not about what we simply achieve, it is about who we become in the process. Every woman has the power to transform her life, her family, and even the world when she chooses to live with discipline, strength, and faith in God. But too often, we forget that true beauty is not in appearance. It is in character, in habits, and in how we carry ourselves when no one is watching. Today, I want to share with you 10 habits every woman should master. Not to please society, not to prove herself to others, but to honor the divine energy within her and walk in alignment with God's wisdom. These habits are not just rules, they are pathways to strength, peace, and fulfillment. Discipline is the unseen strength that separates ordinary living from extraordinary living. It is the habit that transforms potential into power. Many people live life being controlled by desires, impulses, and temporary emotions. But a woman who learns to discipline her mind and her actions becomes unstoppable. She becomes like a river that flows with direction and purpose, not like scattered rainwater that evaporates quickly. Think about it. How many times in our daily life do we feel tempted to give in to small comforts? Maybe it's the comfort of sleeping an extra hour instead of waking up early to start the day with intention. Maybe it's the temptation of giving in to anger when someone provokes us instead of holding our dignity. Maybe it's the desire to constantly seek approval, scrolling endlessly on social media, comparing ourselves, and wasting precious time. Desires are endless. They rise like waves, one after another. But discipline is what teaches us which wave to ride and which wave to let pass. A disciplined woman doesn't mean she lives without joy. In fact, her joy is deeper, stronger, and long-lasting because it is not dependent on impulses. Imagine a person who eats everything she craves without discipline. Eventually her health suffers. But the one who eats mindfully, with balance and care, enjoys health, energy, and beauty for years. The first one gains temporary satisfaction. The second one gains lifelong strength. This is the difference discipline makes. It gives you freedom, not restriction. Discipline is also about the words we speak. Sometimes the desire to answer back quickly, to defend ourselves, to prove a point, feels so strong. But a woman of discipline knows that her silence can sometimes protect her peace better than 1,000 arguments. She doesn't react to everything because she knows not everything deserves her energy. She chooses her words like a jeweler chooses diamonds, rarely, carefully, and with value. Now let's think about relationships. Many times we desire attention, validation, or constant reassurance from others. And when it doesn't come, we feel hurt, broken, or even angry. But discipline teaches us that our worth is not measured by the attention of others, but by the connection we maintain with God and with our own values. A disciplined woman does not beg for love. She attracts it by the way she carries herself. Her presence becomes like a garden, beautiful, calm, and refreshing. People want to stay around her, not because she chases them, but because her discipline gives her dignity. Discipline also shows itself in how we use time. Time is life. Every minute wasted on meaningless distractions is a minute we can never get back. Desires tell us, scroll one more time, watch one more episode, talk one more hour of gossip. But discipline whispers, invest this time in learning, in building, in growing. A woman who respects her time gains control over her life. She understands that time wasted on desires is time stolen from her destiny. Discipline is not about suppressing emotions, it is about guiding them. Imagine a fire, it can burn a house down, or it can cook food and keep us warm. The difference is control. In the same way, desires can either destroy our peace or fuel our purpose. When a woman learns to discipline her desires, she turns her fire into energy for growth. One daily example is as simple as waking up early. The desire says, sleep more, rest more, enjoy comfort. But discipline says, rise early, greet the day, honor the gift of life. And those extra hours of morning discipline often give us clarity, energy, and peace that carry us through the entire day. Another example, when someone disrespects you, the desire to shout back is natural. But the disciplined choice is to respond with calm, or sometimes not respond at all. That choice preserves your dignity and shocks the other person with your strength. Discipline is also spiritual. To sit in silence, to meditate, to pray, to remember God daily, it takes discipline. Our desires distract us, the phone rings, the mind wanders, the world calls. But when a woman trains herself to return again and again to stillness, she becomes unshakable. Her inner world becomes stronger than the noise outside. And from that strength, she lives with balance, no matter what challenges life throws at her. The truth is, discipline is love. Love for your future self, love for your inner peace, love for your higher purpose. Desires make us slaves, discipline makes us masters. Desires fade quickly, but discipline builds character, and character is what defines a woman's true beauty. So, my friends, remember this. A disciplined woman is not the one who denies herself happiness. She is the one who chooses lasting happiness over momentary pleasure. She is not the one who lives with restriction, but the one who walks with freedom. Freedom from weakness, freedom from regret, freedom from the endless pull of desires. She stands tall, calm, and radiant because she knows discipline is her crown, and with that crown she rules her life with grace and power. Compassion is often misunderstood. Many people think compassion means being soft, being fragile, or letting others walk over you. But in truth, compassion is not weakness. Compassion is one of the highest forms of strength a woman can carry within her heart. It is the quality that makes her presence healing, her words soothing, and her actions unforgettable. Think of compassion as a lamp in the darkness. When you enter a dark room, the lamp does not argue with the shadows, it simply shines and removes the darkness. Compassion works the same way. When others bring negativity, hate, or harshness, a compassionate woman responds not by fighting darkness with more darkness, but by shining with understanding, patience, and kindness. But compassion does not mean allowing yourself to be broken. A woman with compassion knows her boundaries. She knows she can love deeply without losing herself. She can forgive without allowing repeated harm. She can care without being controlled. This balance is what makes compassion powerful, not weak. Let's imagine a situation. Someone in your life constantly speaks with anger, always trying to prove you wrong. The natural desire may be to argue back, to raise your voice, to meet fire with fire. But compassion looks deeper. Compassion asks, what pain must this person be carrying? What insecurity makes them behave this way? Instead of reacting, a compassionate woman may choose to remain calm, to respond with gentleness, or sometimes to simply walk away without anger. She does not allow the other person's behavior to poison her peace. That is compassion with wisdom. In daily life, compassion appears in small moments. When you see a co-worker struggling silently, instead of judging them, compassion makes you offer a word of encouragement. When your child makes a mistake, instead of shouting, compassion helps you correct with love so they learn without fear. When a stranger is rude in traffic, compassion reminds you that maybe they are rushing to a hospital or carrying some unseen burden. Compassion doesn't justify bad behavior, but it softens our own hearts so we don't carry bitterness. There is a story of two women. One responds to every insult with insult, every argument with argument. Her days are filled with stress, her nights filled with restlessness. The other chooses compassion. When people hurt her, she chooses understanding. When life tests her, she chooses patience. And her heart remains light, free of unnecessary burdens. Both women face the same challenges, but one lives heavy and the other lives free. Compassion makes the difference. Compassion is also strength in relationships. It allows you to forgive when mistakes happen, to listen when someone needs to be heard, to give when someone is in need. But true compassion also knows when to step back. Imagine pouring water into a cracked pot. No matter how much you pour, it leaks. Compassion teaches us not to keep pouring endlessly, where there is no respect or growth. It teaches us to save our energy for places where it truly nurtures and uplifts. In friendships and love, compassion makes you trustworthy. People feel safe around a compassionate woman because they know she will not judge them harshly. She will see their flaws, yet still treat them with dignity. This is why compassionate people attract loyalty, respect, and love naturally. But remember, compassion is not about being nice all the time. It is about being real, gentle, and firm at the same time. On a spiritual level, compassion is a reflection of the divine. Just as the sun shines on all, whether they deserve it or not, a compassionate woman learns to give warmth without discrimination. But just as the sun also sets to rest, she too knows when to step back. That balance makes her energy endless. Let's take an everyday example. Imagine you are in a marketplace. A woman selling fruits is rude to you. You can respond with anger, or you can choose compassion. Maybe she has been standing in the heat since morning. Maybe her sales have been low. Maybe her child is sick at home. When you respond with kindness instead of anger, not only do you protect your peace, but you also plant a seed of goodness in her. Sometimes one act of compassion changes someone's entire day. Compassion also heals yourself. Carrying anger, hatred, or resentment is like carrying fire in your hand. It burns you before it burns others. But compassion is like cool water. It soothes your soul and keeps you light. A compassionate woman ages with grace because she does not let bitterness wrinkle her heart. She shines with a beauty that no makeup can give, a beauty of spirit. So, my dear friends, never mistake compassion for weakness. It is easy to shout, easy to fight, easy to carry grudges. Anyone can do that. But it takes real courage to forgive, real wisdom to understand, real strength to be kind in a world that sometimes feels unkind. A woman who practices compassion stands tall, not because she is louder, but because she is calmer. She is not shaken by negativity, because she carries her own light. Compassion does not mean allowing others to hurt you again and again. It means you free yourself from hate, but you also protect your dignity. It means you see others with understanding, but you do not sacrifice your self-respect. That balance is what makes compassion a queenly quality, gentle in heart, yet firm in spirit. And when you live with compassion, you inspire others too. Your children learn it by watching you. Your friends feel it in your presence. And even strangers remember the way you treated them. Compassion creates ripples that go far beyond what you can see. And that, my friends, is true power. Power that transforms hearts, power that changes lives, power that leaves a legacy long after you are gone. Patience is often treated as something small, something passive, something that belongs to people who are too weak to act. But in reality, patience is one of the greatest hidden powers a woman can have. It is not weakness, it is silent strength. It is not delay, it is preparation. Patience is the invisible thread that holds together dreams, relationships, and even inner peace. When we look around, the world is always in a rush. People want success overnight. They want love instantly. They want results without effort. And they want answers without waiting. But the truth is, nothing truly valuable in life grows in a day. A seed takes time to become a tree. A relationship takes time to build trust. A skill takes time to master. And a life takes time to shape. Patience is the bridge between the seed and the fruit, between the effort and the reward. Think about the simple act of cooking. If you take rice off the stove too early, it will be hard and uncooked. If you bake bread impatiently, pulling it out before time, it will not rise. But if you wait with patience, the food becomes nourishing, delicious, and complete. Life works the same way. When we rush, we ruin. When we wait, we receive. Now, in daily life, patience is tested every single day. When you are stuck in traffic, you are tested. When your child is not listening, you are tested. When your career is moving slower than you expected, you are tested. In those moments, the desire to complain, to lose temper, to give up, feels strong. But patience whispers, hold on, breathe, trust the process. This too shall pass. A woman who learns to carry patience walks with peace in her eyes, while others are drowning in frustration. There was once a story of a bamboo tree. For the first few years after planting, no growth is seen above the soil. People laugh, people doubt, and many give up watering it. But those who stay patient, who keep watering, suddenly witness the bamboo rising tall, growing more in a few weeks than other trees grow in years. What was happening in those silent years? The roots were growing deep. The strength was building beneath the surface. This is how patience works in our lives. When nothing seems to be happening, something deep within us is growing. Patience gives it time to bloom. In relationships, patience is the medicine that keeps bonds alive. People will make mistakes, they will disappoint us, and they will sometimes fail to meet expectations. But patience teaches us that people are also growing, just like we are. A patient woman knows when to give space, when to allow time, when to wait for understanding to develop. Without patience, relationships break quickly. With patience, they mature beautifully. Let me give you an example. Imagine two women. One reacts instantly when her partner forgets something important. She shouts, she accuses, she creates storms. The other takes a breath, reminds herself of his good qualities, and then calmly addresses it later. Which relationship do you think survives longer? Patience does not mean ignoring mistakes. It means choosing the right moment, the right way, and the right tone. That is wisdom, and that wisdom comes only with patience. Even in personal growth, patience is essential. Many women start something new, a workout, a course, a new habit, and when results don't come quickly, they give up. But true change takes time. Patience tells you, keep going. The results will come, but you must first build consistency. Just like water dripping on a stone creates a mark, slow effort with patience eventually shapes miracles. Patience also gives you emotional power. Imagine someone insults you in front of others. The impatient reaction would be to immediately shout back, to prove yourself, to lower yourself to their level. But patience teaches you to pause, to let the anger settle, and to respond later with dignity. In that moment, you rise above them. They become small while you remain tall. That is the hidden power of patience. It allows you to win battles without fighting them. On a spiritual level, patience is the essence of trust. When you pray, when you set goals, when you put effort, you don't see results immediately. Impatience creates doubt. Why is this not happening? Why is life unfair? But patience strengthens faith. I am doing my part. God is doing his part. The right time will come. That mindset gives peace, and peace itself is success. In daily routines, patience makes life lighter. Standing in long lines, dealing with delays, handling disappointments. Patience saves your energy. Instead of boiling with frustration, you smile and say, "This too is a moment of life." People who carry patience look younger, healthier, happier, because they do not waste energy on constant irritation. So, my friends, never underestimate patience. It is not sitting back and doing nothing. It is trusting, working, and waiting with strength. It is choosing not to quit, not to complain, not to collapse, but to stand firm with faith. The impatient may appear faster, but they stumble. The patient may appear slower, but they win. A patient woman is like a mountain, calm, steady, unmoved by the passing storms. People may not always understand her calmness, but in the end, she remains standing strong. And when her time comes, her growth surprises everyone who doubted her. Patience is the hidden power that turns struggles into strength, delays into lessons, and waiting into wisdom. If you master patience, you master peace. And if you master peace, you master life. Gratitude is one of the most transformative habits a woman can master. It is not just saying, "Thank you," when something good happens. It is a way of seeing life, a way of breathing, a way of living. Gratitude is the art of focusing not on what is missing, but on what is already present. It is the shift from complaint to contentment, from emptiness to fullness, from restlessness to peace. We live in a world that constantly tells us we need more wealth, more recognition, more beauty, more comfort. And because of this, many people spend their lives chasing what they do not have, ignoring the blessings that already surround them. Gratitude flips that perspective. It teaches us to pause and realize, I may not have everything I want, but I already have so much to be thankful for. That one shift creates joy that money, success, and praise can never buy. Think about waking up in the morning. So many people open their eyes and immediately complain about the weather, about their job, about their responsibilities. But gratitude says, "Thank you, God, for another day. Thank you for breath in my lungs, for the roof above my head, for the food that awaits me, for the people who care for me." This simple practice changes the energy of the entire day. A woman who begins her morning with gratitude radiates calmness, while one who begins with complaints carries heaviness all day long. Gratitude is not limited to big blessings. In fact, it shines the brightest in small, ordinary moments. The smile of a child, the fragrance of flowers, the taste of a warm meal, the laughter shared with a friend. These are treasures of life that many overlook. Gratitude means slowing down enough to notice them, to cherish them, to hold them in the heart. Now let's talk about difficult seasons. Gratitude is easy when everything is going well, when you are healthy, loved, successful, and peaceful. But true gratitude shows its strength when life tests you. When things don't go your way, when relationships break, when health struggles appear, when finances tighten, gratitude still whispers, even here, there is something to be thankful for. Maybe the pain is teaching you resilience. Maybe the delay is protecting you from something worse. Maybe the loss is guiding you to new beginnings. Gratitude doesn't deny pain. It simply finds meaning within it. There was once a woman who lost her job. She could have drowned in complaints, but instead she practiced gratitude for the free time she suddenly had, for the support of her family, and for the skills she still carried. That gratitude gave her strength, and soon she discovered an even better path. Gratitude did not erase her struggle, but it gave her the perspective to move forward with courage instead of fear. In relationships too, gratitude is the glue that holds hearts together. Too often, people focus on what their partner, parent, or child is not doing instead of appreciating what they are doing. A woman who practices gratitude doesn't constantly say, "You don't do enough," but instead says, "I see your effort and I appreciate you." That simple shift creates love, respect, and harmony. Gratitude in relationships is like water to a plant. It keeps it alive, fresh, and blooming. Even in self-growth, gratitude is essential. Instead of criticizing yourself for not being perfect, gratitude teaches you to celebrate how far you've come. Maybe you're not at your final goal yet, but you're not where you used to be either. Gratitude for small progress gives motivation for bigger victories. Without gratitude, life feels like an endless chase. With gratitude, every step feels like a blessing. On a spiritual level, gratitude connects you to the divine. When you say thank you, not just to people but to God, you acknowledge that life is a gift, not a burden. Every breath becomes sacred, every moment becomes meaningful. Gratitude opens the heart and allows divine peace to flow in. It is said that the more grateful you are, the more reasons life gives you to be grateful. It's like a magnet. When you focus on blessings, blessings multiply. Let's imagine two women. One constantly complains her house is too small, her family doesn't understand her, her job is too tiring. The other looks at the same life and says, "I have a home, I have family, I have work to provide for me." Yes, it is not perfect, but it is enough. One lives in misery, the other lives in peace. Not because life was different, but because their focus was. Gratitude shaped their world. Even in the face of failure, gratitude is a source of strength. When something doesn't work out, a grateful woman says, "This is not the end, it is a lesson." She thanks the experience for teaching her something valuable. And with that mindset, she moves forward lighter, wiser, and stronger. Complaints tie us down, but gratitude lifts us up. So, my dear friends, gratitude in every season, whether it is summer of success or winter of struggle, is the key to joy. It doesn't mean ignoring problems, it means refusing to let problems blind you to blessings. Gratitude turns an ordinary life into an extraordinary one, not by changing circumstances, but by changing vision. A grateful woman is magnetic. People want to be around her because she radiates positivity. She doesn't drain energy by complaining, she inspires energy by appreciating. She teaches without preaching, simply through the way she lives. Her presence reminds others of their own blessings. Remember, gratitude is not something you practice only when you feel good. It is something you choose even when you don't. That choice makes you powerful, peaceful, and purposeful. Gratitude is not an accessory, it is armor. It protects your heart from bitterness, from envy, from despair. It turns even the hardest journeys into meaningful ones. And when you live with gratitude, life itself becomes a prayer. Every breath says, "Thank you." Every step says, "Thank you." And every moment becomes sacred. Gratitude is the secret that transforms not just days, but destinies. Courage to walk alone is one of the most defining qualities of a strong woman. Most people find comfort in crowds, in company, in the approval of others. They fear loneliness because they believe being alone means being unwanted or weak. But the truth is, walking alone is not weakness. It is strength. It is the proof that you know your own worth, that you trust your own path, and that you are guided by something higher than the opinions of people. Many times in life, you will be faced with choices where everyone else goes one way, but your heart tells you to go another. It takes courage to follow that voice. It takes courage to say, even if no one stands with me, I will stand with my values, with my dignity, with my God. A woman who carries this courage is unstoppable because she is not dependent on external validation. She does not beg for company, she does not fear silence, and she does not sell her principles just to fit in. Think about it. How often do people stay in unhealthy friendships, toxic relationships, or negative environments simply because they are afraid of being alone? They tolerate disrespect, they suppress their true selves, and they compromise their peace, all for the fear of loneliness. But a woman with courage to walk alone understands it is better to be alone in truth than to be surrounded in lies. It is better to walk alone with peace than to walk with many in chaos. Walking alone doesn't mean rejecting people. It means refusing to lose yourself just to keep others. When you stand strong in your own space, when you learn to enjoy your own company, you send a powerful message. I am enough. And that self-respect attracts people of value, people who honor you, people who match your energy. The courage to walk alone often leads you to the right company because you stop clinging to the wrong one. Let me share a simple example. Imagine a young woman who decides to focus on her studies or her career while her friends spend all their time at parties. They laugh at her, they tease her, they call her boring. She feels left out. But if she has the courage to walk alone, she stays firm. Years later, the same people who mocked her will admire her success. This is what courage does. It allows you to sacrifice temporary comfort for lasting growth. Even in family and society, sometimes you must walk alone. When you choose a different path, whether it is in your career, your lifestyle, or your decisions, people may not always understand. They may criticize you, they may try to pull you back into their expectations. But courage says, I respect you, but I must follow what is right for me. This is not rebellion. This is responsibility to your own soul. Courage to walk alone also means having the strength to leave behind what no longer serves you. It could be a relationship that drains you, a habit that harms you, or a place that limits you. Many people stay stuck because they are afraid of the emptiness that follows letting go. But what they don't realize is that emptiness is the space where new blessings enter. A woman who walks alone creates room for growth, for healing, for divine guidance. And let us not forget, the greatest moments of clarity often come in solitude. When you are surrounded by noise, you hear everyone else's voices. But when you walk alone, you hear your own voice, and more importantly, you hear the voice of God within you. Silence and solitude are not punishments, they are opportunities to connect with your inner self, to reflect, to realign, and to strengthen your spirit. Look at nature. A lion does not move in a herd like sheep. It walks with dignity, sometimes alone, but always with confidence. That is why it is called the king. Similarly, a woman with the courage to walk alone is not arrogant, but she is self-assured. She doesn't chase acceptance. She carries her own authority. Of course, walking alone is not always easy. There will be moments of doubt, moments of loneliness, moments when you question yourself. But those are the moments that shape you. Diamonds are formed under pressure, and character is formed in solitude. Every step you take alone strengthens your backbone, sharpens your vision, and deepens your faith. In daily life, courage to walk alone could be as small as saying no when everyone says yes. It could be refusing gossip when others indulge in it. It could be choosing simplicity when others chase show-off lifestyles. It could be staying true to your principles at work, even if it costs you short-term benefits. These may seem like small acts, but they build a powerful foundation of self-respect. Spiritually, courage to walk alone means realizing that you are never truly alone. Even if people leave you, even if friends forget you, even if society misunderstands you, God is always with you. That faith gives a woman unshakable courage. She does not fear the empty seat beside her because she knows the highest presence walks beside her always. So, my dear friends, remember this. Walking alone does not mean you are lonely. Walking alone means you are strong enough to choose your own path, even when it is unpopular, even when it is misunderstood. The world may not clap for you in the beginning, but eventually it will respect you. Because courage is rare, and those who carry it shine brighter than the rest. The courage to walk alone transforms you. It teaches you independence, it builds your confidence, and it prepares you for leadership. And most importantly, it teaches you that your worth does not come from others. It comes from the strength of your own soul. So never fear solitude. Walk alone if you must, but walk with dignity, with faith, and with courage. For in those moments of walking alone, you are never truly alone. You are walking with God, with purpose, and with the power that will lead you to the destiny meant only for you. Humility is one of the most misunderstood virtues. Many people think being humble means lowering yourself, being timid, or hiding your strengths. But true humility is none of these. True humility is power under control. It is wearing your achievements with grace, your talents with gentleness, and your success with simplicity. It is the crown of wisdom that makes a woman not only admired, but deeply respected. Let us ask ourselves, why do people value the tree that bends lower when it is full of fruit? Because bending low is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of richness. The more fruit it carries, the more it bows. A woman who carries wisdom, success, and strength yet remains approachable, kind, and grounded is like that tree. She doesn't need to shout about her greatness. Her greatness speaks through her actions. In daily life, we see the difference clearly. Imagine two women, one constantly talks about what she has achieved, always reminding others of her talents, her possessions, and her position. The other achieves just as much, maybe even more, but she speaks gently, treats others equally, and lets her work speak louder than her words. Which woman do you think people want to stay around longer? The humble one. Because humility makes a person warm and magnetic, while arrogance makes them cold and distant. Humility is also about how we treat people. It's easy to be kind to those above us, but humility shows itself when we are kind to those who cannot give us anything in return. A humble woman greets the janitor with the same respect as the CEO. She values the efforts of her child as much as the achievements of a scholar. She understands that dignity is not measured by status, but by humanity. Think about a flower. It doesn't announce its fragrance, yet everyone is drawn to it. Humility is like that fragrance. You don't need to declare it, people will feel it in your presence. Now some may ask, but if I am humble, won't people take advantage of me? The answer is no, because true humility is balanced with self-respect. Humility doesn't mean letting others walk over you. It means you don't walk over others. A humble woman can say no with dignity. She can stand firm in her values and still remain gentle. That balance is what makes humility powerful. In relationships, humility acts as a healing force. Many arguments are fueled not by big problems, but by the ego of refusing to admit mistakes. A humble woman, even if she is right, knows how to soften her words, how to listen first, how to value peace over pride. This doesn't mean she suppresses her truth. It means she expresses it without arrogance. Such humility builds trust, harmony, and love that lasts. Even in success, humility is what protects you from downfall. History is full of examples of people who rose high but fell hard because of pride. And it is also full of those who rose high, stayed grounded, and became timeless. Success without humility is like a balloon filled with too much air. It eventually bursts. Success with humility is like a kite controlled with a string. It flies high yet remains safe. Let me share a daily life example. Imagine a woman who becomes very skilled at her work. Everyone praises her. Now she has two choices. She can let the praise feed her ego, thinking she is above others, or she can accept the praise with gratitude, acknowledging the efforts of those who helped her and the blessings of God that made it possible. The second choice keeps her heart pure and her path steady. That is humility, the wisdom to remember that you may be talented, but you are not the source of everything. On a spiritual level, humility is what connects you to God. When you are humble, you realize that no matter how much you achieve, you are still a small part of a vast universe, guided by a higher power. This realization doesn't make you feel less. It makes you feel secure. Because you know you don't carry the world on your shoulders, you are supported by something greater. Humility also makes you a lifelong learner. An arrogant person says, "I know everything." A humble person says, "There is always more to learn." And because of this, the humble person grows endlessly, while the arrogant person becomes stuck. A humble woman listens deeply, learns from everyone, whether it's a child, a stranger, or even her own mistakes. That openness is what makes her wise. Consider a cup. If it's full of pride, nothing new can enter. But if it's humble, empty, and open, it can receive fresh water, new wisdom, and greater blessings. Humility even affects how we carry ourselves physically. Have you noticed how some people enter a room and